We can jump over to another one, and I think this is a guy that I believe you are really fond of, and I think he's somebody that a lot of people are starting to get into, and that is Jalen Reagor from TCU. 5'11", 194, had a 36.7 dominator rating, great breakout age of 18.7, had an awesome target share with 23.5, 32% in 2018. Now, with Reagor, I feel like that he is somebody that is kind of the perfect example, not really waiting too much on in terms of just basic counting stats like receiving yards or touchdowns, because Jalen Reagor is somebody who played in a really terrible offense in TCU, and if you just go off of his stats, you're not going to be very impressed because he just wasn't able to do a lot. But if you dig a little bit deeper and go into more of his target share, and you see that he was kind of the focal point of this offense, and I think everything else about him that you kind of dig into makes him a really exciting prospect. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's somebody that I've been on for a while now. Somebody that I absolutely love. Overall, I love his film. I love his analytical profile. He's one of those guys that seemingly just you get lucky with and everything just lines up. And to go with your question, I think this is absolutely him and Tyler Johnson for me are the two guys where you look at their raw statistics and they look a little bit underwhelming. Some of Tyler Johnson's raw statistics in his age 19 season, you're going to be like, I don't understand. Same thing with Jalen Reagor this past year. When we look at his raw metrics and we're not able to digest like how we're able to elevate a guy like this who couldn't, and I don't know his raw statistics off the top of my head, so excuse me, but somebody who couldn't push over 1,000 yards and somebody who doesn't have double-digit touchdowns in the college game, a lot of the casual people that look at that are going to write a guy like Jalen Reagor off. But when we grab the whole entire scope of what he did, and we isolate it just this year, which is his age 20 season, we see that he still grabbed over 20% of the receptions there, over 25% of the receiving yards there, and 33% of the receiving touchdowns there. So I'm not really, and that's just this year. If we want to go back to his age 19 season, we see he had an overall dominator in his age 19 season, about 44.2, which grades absolutely elite. Second single season dominator, only to Tyler Johnson among these guys that we're looking at right now. And then we see his age 18 season, and Jalen Reagor is actually one of only two wide receivers that broke out at age 18. He's the only one that broke out at age 18 is Bryan Edwards broke out at 17. That's wild. But Jalen Reagor, he's another guy that I think a team could really fall in love with his speed, could really fall in love with the versatility that he offers downfield. He's a little bit smaller than a guy like T. Higgins, but I'm telling you, this guy can high point. He can go up. He can adjust at the catch point to a ball. He can really, really put a defensive back on skates. So when you look at him and you look at his profile, I think, like I said, it's where the two kind of analytically and film kind of marry together, and you get a guy like Jalen Reagor, and you get lucky with him. And if he does creep into the back end of that first, or I think, a team is really, really going to be blown away by what he's going to do at the combine. Rumors have it that he ran a 4.3, I believe in high school. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember what the narrative there was, but he's gone on record to say he's the fastest guy in this class, even over a guy like Henry Ruggs. So I think a team is going to be absolutely blown away by his skill set and what he's able to do physically. I think when you look at the analytics and you see how dominant he was, even on a horrid TCU offense this year, and then you look at you just go back to the tape and see all the things that he's able to do as a downfield threat, as a short area threat, a guy that you really want to get in space. I think he has a really, really, really strong potential to end in that back half of that first round. And for me, if that happens and he does get first round draft capital, I am probably going to stick him up there with CeeDee Lamb, and it would probably be CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Reagor that would probably be the two guys I'm most comfortable biting on, just from historical hit rates of wide receivers that have first round draft cap, that have an age 18 breakout, and a guy with Jalen Reagor's skill set. I'm excited about him. He's somebody that I've loved for a really, really long time. He makes up a considerable amount of my Devy teams, and I'm excited to see him blow up the combine here in a couple weeks. I'm excited to see what he does and how he cements himself in the draft. So I absolutely love him. I think people are sleeping on him if you don't have him in that top 4 or 5 wide receivers, you're already late. And so I'm hoping things kind of pan out for him.
Yeah, don't let the size fool you. The 5'11", 195 or whatever it was. He plays a lot bigger than that. He's aggressive. He attacks the ball. Jesse already touched on, his ability to high point and the adjustments that he makes. And I'm personally a sucker for the double move, and he has a couple of those that just with it combined with his speed is just it's a pretty sight.
You know which team that really loves speed and picks in the back half of the draft, and it is likely going to be looking for a wide receiver.
Okay, we're moving on now. And we're moving on to the next prospect, right?
All right, let's do it. We can fill in the blank of whoever that could be. A team that loves speed.